You don't just feel lost. You don't just lack direction. Something is already deciding what should matter to you before you even notice it. And you think it's you, your goals, your plans, what you say you want, but it doesn't start where you think. You're in a conversation, people talking about work, plans, what comes next, what they're building, what they're chasing, and you follow. You nod. You agree, because it makes sense. Sounds right. Fits. So you take it in. You repeat it. You call it yours. And for a moment you try to feel it. Try to care the same way. Try to want it. But something doesn't fully connect. And you move past that, because everything around you is already organized in the same direction. So you align. You adjust. You keep going. And the more it makes sense, the less you question where it came from, until you stop noticing when what moves you was already defined before you. This isn't about you being unmotivated, and it's not that you don't know what you want. It's not confusion, and it's not a lack of direction, because there are moments where something in you feels clear, immediate, almost obvious, a reaction, an interest, a pull, something that moves you, but it doesn't last, because almost at the same time something else steps in, questions it, adjusts it, repositions it, not loudly, not consciously, just enough to make it more acceptable, more reasonable, more aligned with what makes sense. And now there are two movements, one that appears, and one that reorganizes it, one that wants, and one that translates, and they don't feel like the same thing. But you don't stay with that difference. You follow the version that fits, the one that can be explained, the one that sounds right. And over time that becomes the one you recognize as yours, not because it started from you, but because it's the one that remained. You start making choices that already make sense, plans that feel familiar. You say what you want, but it sounds like something you've heard before. Path that fits, a life that works. You follow steps that feel right, stable, expected, and nothing in it feels exactly wrong. But it also doesn't feel like it started in you, because when you try to look closer, you don't really remember choosing it. You just know it makes sense. You just know it's what comes next. And when something different appears, it doesn't feel exciting. Feels risky, unclear, like something you can't fully hold. So you move back to what fits, to what can be explained, to what can be recognized. And little by little, what you call your direction is made of things that already existed before you. Decisions that don't create tension, choices that don't break anything. And you keep going, building something that works, something that can be understood, something that has a place. But every now and then, there's a gap, a moment where it feels like you're inside something that doesn't fully belong to you. And you don't stay there for long, because that space doesn't tell you what to do next. And you're not used to that. So you return to what makes sense and keep moving, even if something in you never fully arrived there. This isn't random, and it's not just happening inside you, because what gets to exist was never completely open. There are things that have a place, things that can be followed, things that can be explained, and things that don't connect, don't continue, don't fit anywhere. And those don't move forward, not because they're wrong, but because they don't hold a path. They don't keep things stable. They don't know where to go next. So you learn without noticing to move toward what continues, what makes sense, what has direction, what can be recognized, and to move away from what doesn't, even when that's the part that felt different, the part that didn't sound like anything you've heard before, the part that didn't already exist. So you keep choosing what works and leaving aside what doesn't, even when what doesn't is the only thing that didn't come ready. And it doesn't disappear. Keep showing up, without form, without direction, as something that doesn't settle inside the life you're building. And you move away from it again, not because you decided to, but because it doesn't have a place to stay. And if that keeps happening, then maybe it's not that you don't know what moves you. Maybe it's that what moves you doesn't already exist in a way you can follow.